Today I'm going to talk to Alex Stark, who is a burnout coach and also therapist. Let me just try to get her on quickly. There we go. One moment. There you
Hi.
are! Yes,
Hi.
it worked!
Finally.
Finally, I'm so happy. Yay!
I know. That was
Good.
a little harder than you
Yes.
thought,
Yeah,
huh?
I know. And I've done it like quite a few times.
I
Maybe
don't
it's the
know.
internet, who knows? But
I don't
you're
know. But here
here.
we
You're
are.
here. Yeah, so happy to speak to you. So I
Yes,
thought
me
maybe we
too.
can just start off with you, maybe just introducing yourself a little bit to my audience, who you are, what you do.
Sure. Well, my name is Alex Stark, and I'm a licensed psychotherapist in 4 states, and I'm also an executive coach. I work primarily with women who are in executive roles, executive leadership roles, who are also, most of them are moms. So
Mm.
juggling kind of working space, being in leadership. Um, and I help them through some high functioning anxiety, a lot of professional burnout, and just kind of really balancing boundaries, work, life, and
Wow, important work that you do. It's so needed these days. Yeah. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, maybe to your audience, if that's okay. Oh, you're stuck, but I don't hear you anymore. But let's just see. Hopefully, you'll get back on again. Yeah. So my name is Christy. I'm a career coach, and I help women who feel stuck in their career find a meaningful and fulfilling career. Let's see if I can get you on. Uh, Hello.
okay, we're back again.
Crazy. I don't know what's going. I don't know if it's the internet or
I don't know. I mean, I think I'm all set on my end. I'm not sure. Maybe it's just Instagram today.
Instagram is not agreeing with
No, they
us.
don't like us today.
They don't like us. Okay, so I thought I'll just introduce myself to your audience as
Yes,
well.
please.
Yeah, so I'm a career coach, and I help women who feel stuck in their job find a meaningful and fulfilling career. And why I want to talk to you is because I'm just hearing more and more women that come to me that are experiencing a burnout or have experienced a burnout and are just or are very afraid of it and like
Mhm.
don't want to experience it. So that's why they want to do something different in their career. And of course, there are many different reasons for burnout, but that's why I thought it would be very interesting and valuable for my viewers to hear more from you. So
Yes.
that was actually goes to my first question because I read a bit on your website and everything that the women who come to you, they really want some more work-life balance. And what are the biggest challenges that they face in trying to achieve this?
Sure. Well, I would be curious also to know from you if you're kind of seeing the same thing. But a lot of the women that I work with are, high achieving. They've been high achieving their whole lives. They've always gotten straight A's and been on the honor roll, and maybe they played sports, or maybe they've been traveling, or they're just kind of, have always kind of had that mindset of more is better.
Mm,
So they're kind of already in a mindset. Some have a really hard time setting boundaries. Little bit of people
mm-hmm,
pleasing, a little bit of always wanting to say yes, because yes, means better. Yes means more. A lot of times it's just a lot. I mean, being a working woman, and most of the women I work with are also moms. So then,
yeah.
also you go home and your kids don't care that you're the CEO of a company or the chief. They don't care. They just want your attention. So managing just a household, being a mom, and just kind of struggling to shut off
Mm.
so that high achieving kind of mindset flows through to personal life and then back to professional, and it's just kind of a never ending cycle. What are you
Yeah, so
seeing with your clients?
yeah, so basically, I just finished a coaching session with someone, and she actually is she's a marketing manager, actually quite senior, but she's doing all like things that she's not meant to be doing.
Mhm.
Very task oriented administration, all sorts of things that other colleagues are asking her to do, and she finds it very difficult to say no and set
Mhm.
boundaries.
Yes,
And so
yes.
that's I think pretty much all my clients are perfectionists and find it very difficult to set boundaries, say no, because they are worried about disappointing other people, worried that that people might be upset with them or get angry
Yeah. I
or
know.
all those
Why are
type
we
of
like
things.
this? Why are we doing
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm like, but what is your goal? What is your mission? And she's like, I want to be like at the strategic level. I want to like make the decisions and stuff. And I'm like, well, but is this what you're doing, saying yes to now? Is it going to get you there? And she's like, no, it's not. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah, but if you've been doing this for your whole life, I mean, it is very difficult to all of a sudden um, create a whole new, because that is kind of, you're going to have to start changing some things.
Yeah,
And, you also said that sorry.
no, I was going to say it's so much more than just telling somebody to turn off their notifications. You know,
Yeah.
don't just stop working. I mean, it's a whole new way of approaching work and a whole new way of approaching, your communication style and everything about kind of how you operate.
Yeah. And then when it comes to burnout, what do you see with your clients, also especially women in leadership? And, what are some early warning signs that people obviously usually kind of miss, or maybe pretend they don't see it?
Yeah, that's well, what I hear people say a lot, and I don't know if you're seeing this with the women. Do you work with primarily women? Is it
Yes.
primarily women?
Yes.
Yes. People will say, well, this is just part of it, right? Like, well, I
Mm.
signed up to be in this role, or I signed up to be in this leadership role, or run this business, or I have this team of 40 people, and this is how it is. There's no other way. I can't do it any differently. So I hear that, like, that narrative a lot. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
coming in like, well, isn't this just the way it's supposed to be? Like everyone else I know is stressed out, so it's just normal. But the World Health Organization actually does have a definition for burnout that I think works really well to identify the early warning signs.
Mm-hmm.
Their full definition is a three-part. So one is exhaustion. So that's not just, oh, I had a hard day, I'm
Mm.
tired. That's that full just depletion, exhaustion. You can't get out of your chair. Your body is tired. It's not just you
Mm.
want to take a nap, it's your whole body's kind of depleted. You don't want to talk at the end of the day. You're feeling disconnected. That second thing is like professional efficacy. So the things that maybe used to take you 5 minutes are now taking you all day long. You're just not really noticing
Mm.
producing. You're kind of you're not doing that great at your job. Whereas 2 years ago, you were knocking it out of the park, and now you can't figure out. It's not skill based. It's not something that you don't know how to do. You just can't. Like you can't get it
Sure.
right.
Mm.
And then there is also the third thing is going to be that cynicism. So just kind of like hating it, right?
Mm.
Like just kind of that escapism. I'll hear people say, I want to work at Walmart. I'd rather work at Walmart than work here. And they've worked 20 years for their career. So just kind of this negative attitude about maybe your
Yes.
work, the people that you work with, the thing that you've gone to school for 20 years. Now you can't even imagine being in that space for one more second. There's kind of a lot of like job searching, just like randomly on LinkedIn looking for different jobs, not without a
Without a
plan,
plan.
with no strategy, which doesn't work. I'm
No.
sure you see that. What do you see? Do you see kind of women coming in with kind of similar narratives?
Yeah, so it's actually quite interesting. So I'm Dutch, but I'm now in South Africa, and I'm speaking here to women. And in South Africa, burnout doesn't really even exist. So it exists, but people laugh at you if you say you have a burnout. It's really crazy. It's like a very different mentality. Here it's
Really?
like you just take a spoon of cement and you just, this is literally what one client said. That's why I repeated it. And you just sort of go like,
Wow.
you just have to toughen up, because here it's, you should be happy that you have a job. So it's very different to Holland, where everybody has a burnout and
Mhm.
everybody's like, so it's very interesting how in Holland it's becoming more open. People are
It's so
talking about it more.
interesting.
It's very
I love
interesting.
that.
Yeah.
I love that.
But I feel like because everything is like, I mean, now South African people also watching this, I feel like because of everything is getting interconnected and social media and everything, people are hearing about it and more open about it. It's just like how in the olden days you would not go to therapy, like our parents didn't do that.
Mm-mm.
And now people are more open to it. And I feel like in South Africa, people are hearing more about like, oh, maybe it is actually a thing, but it's still a bit of a unspoken subject.
Almost like a little taboo, right?
A little bit of a taboo. Yeah.
I can, that's so interesting. And I would love to talk to you more about that. I think that's so fascinating. But that was kind of similar also here in the United States when people kind of started talking, it was just a
Mm.
buzzword and people would say, oh, well, people just don't want to work anymore. This
Yeah, they're just
lazy
lazy.
generation, this lazy generation, they just don't want to work anymore. But I think kind of what happened over time was I think that, you know, there were more like natural boundaries with work, kind of and generations ago. I mean, there was no work from home. I mean, people were going to an office, they were coming home. It was very structured, a 9 to 5. You come home, you live your life at home, and then you go back to work the next day. And usually it was the same job for 25, 35
Yeah.
years, and then you retire. And that was kind of it. But professional life is so different now. Um, I'm sure you see through your clients. I mean, people they have specific goals and they want to do different, they're climbing the ladder and they're owning businesses and people are working from home, and it's just the boundaries I think just naturally and organically are less, because there's technology and obviously us, on Instagram, and countries apart. So people, there's just like more opportunity for someone to be like, oh yeah, I'll take that on.
Mm.
Sure, I'll do that. And before you know it, 2 years later, you don't even have time to say hi to your kids
Mm.
when you get home from work.
You know what I am also a bit surprised about? How, well, this is more the people I speak to, how many people are really miserable in their job. But also, I mean, I also speak to people who don't want to do my coaching because they are just too comfortable and they are okay with feeling miserable in their job. And then I'm like, but don't you want to have something more meaningful and
Mm-hmm.
fulfilling? And they're like, yeah, I do, but there's so many excuses. I don't have the finances. It's going to be too difficult to make a change. So they kind of stay stuck. And then the people that I do help, those are the people that are like, you know what? Life is too short. I'm not going to be miserable for the rest of my life in this job. I want something more fulfilling and more meaningful.
What do you see as like the main difference between somebody who's like, okay, I'm ready, like Christy, help me out. I want to do this. And then someone who's like, no, thank you. I'd rather just stay here and be miserable.
I really think it's something to do with mindset, that the one person has hope, probably has a more of a growth mindset, whereas the other person, I think they just don't believe in themselves. They just have a fixed
Mhm.
mindset. They just don't
Yeah.
believe that they can be helped, which is actually quite sad.
It is sad. I call that kind of the familiar hell and unfamiliar heaven. So it's just like if someone's miserable and they're just familiar with that feeling and they've been doing it for so long and they're just like, this is part of it. This is what I signed up for. I'm happy I have a job. That's more of that. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go every day and I'm gonna be miserable. But that's okay because it's comfortable. It feels okay. It feels way more uncomfortable to change and to growth mindset is harder, right? I mean, it's harder to change. That uncomfortableness sometimes is too much for maybe someone to handle and they just kind of stay stuck. So I'm like,
Yeah,
to get to that like unfamiliar heaven, you have to kind of go through that uncomfortable space.
yeah. I've read a lot of research about that people would rather be in their comfort zone unhappy than get out the comfort zone.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm sure you know the onion ring, right? Like
Mhm.
all the different layers and stuff. Yeah, you just have to go through that uncomfortable stage, but
Have
then
to. Absolutely. Yeah, you have to, or else you stay
mm,
stuck.
and you're also talking about, which I don't hear too often, about high functioning and anxiety. So I also like to talk to you a little bit about that, how it shows up in these driven professionals, and also maybe just some simple tips or ways to manage
Yeah,
it.
sure. So high functioning anxiety isn't like an actual diagnosis in the DSM. It's not something people can have a diagnosis of generalized anxiety, and there's many things under that umbrella. But the term then it is um, a diagnosis.
Mm.
And it's just really, someone who has that underlying feeling of feeling anxious or anxiety, but just kind of hides it and manages it really well. And a lot of
Mm.
times that anxiety is intercontrolled by their desire to do more and to be perfect and to control the situation. And so that makes a really great leader, right? I mean, that makes somebody who can do all the things and manage people and do 100 things at once. A lot of times when people will tell me that they don't think that their friends or family or partners even know
That's
that they struggle with that.
crazy.
Because on the outside, it's like they've got the job and the, beautiful clothing
Mm.
and they look put together.
Mm.
It's not somebody running around like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. It's not that
Like a
person.
headless chicken.
Yeah, it's not that it's someone who is so cool, calm, collected on the outside, who's managed,
Mm.
multi-million dollar businesses, who's got 6 kids and 6 different sports and, eating organic and working out and drinking water and doing their steps. And you're like, you look at that person like, wow, like they've got their stuff together. But on the inside, they're like struggle, struggle, struggle.
Mm.
So I see that a lot. So you asked like some practical
Yeah.
strategies. um, so I mean, foundation, I always like to say, like, start with the foundation. So look at eating, sleeping, hydration, body movement, and mindfulness. That's going to be like your foundational wellness. I can't tell you, Google the top 10 coping skills for high functioning anxiety. You could, and that would be great, but they would not stick. That would not be sustainable. So
Mm.
sometimes I work with people and I'll say, well, tell me about what did you eat for lunch? And they'll be like, I don't eat lunch. Lunch?
Oh,
I haven't had lunch since 2015, And I'm like,
what's
okay,
lunch?
let's start there. What's lunch? So kind of just being more aware of just those basic foundational things. You can't survive on coffee and like a handful of almonds alone. Like we have to be like putting into our bodies what we want to get out.
Mm.
But one kind of like practical strategy that I talk about a lot is a calendar audit. Um, so truly going into your calendar, both personal and professional,
Mm-hmm.
and auditing everything that you have on there. Can you eliminate? Can you make your meetings 40 minutes instead of 60? Are there things that have been stacked on top of your calendar over the years that you can completely eliminate? Do you have time blocked for lunch, for breaks, for thinking time, not just your
Mm.
meetings? Are you working in your business and on your business or just in your business? So it's like
Mm.
sometimes just the way we approach, like don't mistake busyness for productivity.
Yes.
So we'll talk about that a lot. It's just more of like a practical strategy, but definitely first that foundational piece. What are you seeing in your business with your clients regarding like high functioning anxiety?
Um, First of all, a lot of perfectionism, always setting the bar higher, and indeed also wanting the perfect picture for the outside world in order to be liked, accepted, and fit in, and please the parents. Um, Also doing certain jobs for the outside world, for status, the money, the paycheck. So they find that very difficult to let that go, that perfect picture. And then it's really also, yeah, not being focused, like too many different things and being distracted all the time, by different things and not setting priorities, and therefore being very busy the whole
Mhm,
day, but really thinking at the end of the day, but what have I actually kind of done? And yeah, just
mhm.
overly stressed. And then also, at night working again, opening the laptop again, and
Yes.
just doing too much. And then it comes all down back to again that people pleasing, wanting, being scared of not what's going to happen if I don't function like this.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of
Yeah,
similarities.
it is. And then I also want to know, because you said many women, they feel like they have to either choose between that successful career or being happy in a personal life, or maybe some people even decide to not have kids because of that. And what would you say to someone who thinks, well, there's no way I can have both?
Mhm. I would say they're wrong. I think you can.
You're wrong.
You are wrong. You absolutely can. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't have to choose between being a mom and being a successful
Mm.
professional. I think that that is an old school mentality. It just, like I said, it's how you approach things, how you prioritize your time, understanding
Mm.
that time is always going to be our most precious resource. And so if you can prioritize your time and know that your time is your most valuable thing and hold it close, and not give it away for free, then
Mm.
you will have, the time and the space in your life to do all the things that you want to do. But you can't be giving 100% of yourself all the time to all the things in your life. If you have a pocket of your day where you need to give 100% of your time to being a
Mm-hmm.
professional, fine. But they can't be 100% of your day, right? So work in our professions and our businesses are pieces and parts of what make us up, but they don't define us as a whole human.
Yeah.
So it has to be pretty strategic in how you manage. So it takes a lot of work on the
Yes.
back end, but then, on the front end, you're doing all the things that you really truly want to do.
Yeah. No, you're completely right. Okay, I know you need to go, so I have one more
Awesome.
quick question.
Yes.
Um, if someone is feeling stuck in their job that doesn't fulfill them and they're scared to make a change, I'm asking this question because a lot of women are feeling stuck in their careers. What do you say to them? What's the first step they should take?
Is to call you. Is to call Christy. That's
Thank
her. That's her.
you.
That's her specialty. She'll help you. Uh, I would truly say, like, don't go at it alone.
Yeah.
Truly, I think a lot of women want to do everything on their own, and that's sometimes
Mm.
what makes us more stuck. Is we'll just think, well, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. But really, like, that's your time to cash in your chips, right? You've been doing all the things for all the people your whole life. So reach out to,
Mm.
a coach, a mentor, a therapist. I mean, a friend. I mean, just a support system, somebody who can kind of help you and help you process your thoughts and guide you to make a decision. It's probably when you're feeling stuck, you're not ready to like make a decision, but you probably need to process some information and learn some more about what you need and what you want
Yeah.
to make the decision in the future.
Yeah, love that. You don't need to figure it out on your own. I mean, I think so many of us, I mean, I would never be where I'm today if I didn't get help from other
No, of
coaches, you know?
course not. No, I mean, I've had several along the way and they've all been
Mm.
wonderful. And I
Mm.
definitely, credit that to
Yeah,
to me being able to do what I do.
amazing. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining me today. I really loved chatting to you and I'm so happy it worked out. So, yeah,
Yes, me too. It
all the
was so
technical
nice
stuff.
to meet you in person, kind of.
Yeah.
But it was really nice to talk to you and thank you for having me. And maybe we'll do a part two someday.
Yeah, let's do a part two. It'll be fun.
Okay,
Whew.
Christy. Thanks
Thank you
so
so much.
much.
Have a good day.
Thanks, you too.
Bye.
Bye bye.